Hey guys, Titan 1500. Today we're going to be working on the DIY bump box. And for $30 and everything in my hand right here, you can build yours. So we built this bump box for under $30 and it contains one solid state relay. You get it off Amazon for like $6 to $9, eBay. I'll have links for everything in the description down below. Two standard automotive relays, double pull, double throw, but you can use single pull since we're not going to be using the normally closed circuit. And this is what makes it all work. This timer. So most of the timers you see DIY bump box people using are like this big. They're huge. They're the Honeywell, like the UDC 3300, the Red Lions. You can digitally set them, but a lot of times they still have a built-in relay circuit, so they have a minimum switching time. This little guy is all solid state, and unlike the Honeywells and the other guys that are $70 to $200, it's $14. You can get it right off Amazon, eBay. I've used this for a couple of years now. I've had a few, they work fine. So no worries there, but look how small this thing is. Look at, I literally use electrical tape and tape this to the side of this. And if you wanted, you can tape your relays to the other side. And that's the whole unit right there. Timer, everything. You have to have some inputs. So I didn't show them here. You know, you have two little switches, but in reality, in your car, it's gonna be your trans brake button on your shifter. And then for me, I end up using my windshield washer or the cruise control button on the side of my steering wheel. If you have buttons built in your steering wheel, or like on a Trans Am, it's on a little stick next to it. So I'm bumping in, I can just reach over, click, 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 and the car just bumps in. Good to go, and I'm back on the steering wheel before the lights even turn. So I didn't want to have to reach down. I tried running a cable up the column and wrapping it around. That was a fucking mess. So not doing that. But get creative with your push buttons. Every car has got something you can do. Everyone's got a turn signal stick. There's probably your windshield wiper pissers or something. You could just grab that as a signal on your column to trigger the bump. So I do also have electrical drawing made up really nice and clear. It's also in the link down below. You can read it. Well, you can download it from Dropbox. Anyways, on this timer, you do have to set it up. It's a multi-function timer. That means it can do delay on, delay off, one shot, all sorts of things. So we're gonna be using, I'll go over it in the setup, we're gonna be using the one shot feature. And what one shot means is that when you press the button to bump, it only bumps once. You have to physically release the button and then press it again before it'll bump. So why do we want that? If you use a standard timer, just off delay, and you click the button and you held it, or you got some jitter, the car's gonna bump twice, because that's just the nature of the beast. So a one shot, it makes sure that even if you're holding that button in, it won't keep bumping. So it has to be fully on and fully off. And it works out real great. You just hit it, bang, it'll bump. Hit it again, it'll bump. So yeah, let's get into building this. Let's set everything. Okay, so let's set up a test circuit. I highly suggest setting this up on the bench before you put it in your car. I'm not gonna be responsible for anyone trying to bump inside their garage and going through the door or hitting someone else's car or into a group of people. I mean, don't be that idiot in the parking lot showing the trans brake and spooling the turbo around a bunch of people. It's fucking stupid, but I see it all the time. And especially on this one, the first time you had this mode set up wrong, you're gonna go for a ride. So please, please, please set it up on the bench like we're doing here with a little test light. Everyone's got a 12-volt battery. Pull your battery out of your car if you need a power supply. Test it out. Make sure it's bumping the way you think it should bump. and then go outside, put your car in the way of someone, you know, not in the way of someone, but, you know, away from everyone and anything, and test it out there. Okay guys, so we're gonna set this timer up before we finish wiring it. The only thing we have to do to set this up is that I grab the ground from the timer and tie it directly to the battery or to your ground. The trigger is hooked up from your bump button, and then your power is on. So I got the power, I can turn it on and off with my fuse right here. Just leave it on. So to get the timer into configuration mode, we're gonna have the green and the white wires. We're gonna touch them together, and we're going to hold it onto the ground and turn the power on. Okay, the light came on right there. Let off. It goes away. Okay, so we're in programming mode. So what we need to do here, we have this chart, it's in the manual, so download the manual. There's 5 steps. We're only going to be using 3 of them. The first is the timing. We're going to hold the white wire to ground. That tells it for how long it's going to time for. When you bump, just scratch it as fast as you can, and it'll work fine. And then we're going to go to functions. We have to set it to function 14. Again, that's noted in the electrical drawings. So you're just going to tap the white wire to ground 14 times. And you'll see the light flash every time, you know, indicating. And we're going for a one-shot mode. And then we'll advance to output mode. We'll leave it on instant. Just touch the white wire to the ground, and then we'll go to output type. That will be normal. No, sorry, not normal. The output type will be reversed, green. So we'll touch the green wire to the ground, and then we can just disconnect the power because we're not worrying about changing the programming time, because we're going to leave it for the duration just when you hold it together. So how we set this up here, I disconnected my trigger, my yellow wire, and set it, you can't have it connected to a load, so I just connected it directly to my little button up here, and that's got a red light LED that we're going to use. That just tells us they're flashing for what modes we're in. And then you leave your bump hooked up and your power, and then your ground. Just make sure your ground's hooked directly to your battery or your power supply. Let's go over the timing again. So we're going to set it up. Okay, white and green touching the ground, power on, and timing mode. So white wire set our time, just going to scratch. Cool. White and green together, so go to the next mode, number 2. Functions. Timer function now, white wire, 14 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. White and green together. Go to next mode. Okay. Now we're in the output mode. You can leave it alone. It's instant. Just touch the white wire if not. Next mode. Output type, normal, reverse. We need reverse. We're going to touch the green wire. Perfect. We're done now. So take power off. Let it sit for a little bit. Power on. Okay, good idea, good sign. The LED's on. Turn the trans brake on, which is what we had, so it's no big deal. Turn the trans brake on, we have power. Now I bump it. See how quick that was now? Every time I get bump, 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 bump. It's quick. We set this back up here just like we would be in the car. So we have the solenoid hooked up now to this, the output. So this is to represent our physical trans brake when that turns on and off, our light. So if we're going to start over like we're going to do, actually like race the car. So turn your arming switch on. That enables your trans brake. Now if you hit your trans brake button, it will engage the trans brake. So sure enough, This is on my shifter knob. It's a momentary, but here I'm going to use a switch. Bang. Trans brake is on. You're locked in. The car's not moving. You hold the gas, start revving it up, start building boost. We can also see there's a light here on the timer. That is on. So now I'm at the line. First bulb's lit. I'm going to hit my bump button. Bump, 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 bump. Holy shit, that was 5 bumps to get there. Hey, it works. Now, all we do, you know, you're holding your trans brake the whole time, and you're pressing bump, 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 bump. Trans brake off, boom, you're flying. That's how easy it works. So let's go over it one more time. So again, I'm pulling up to the line, lit my first bulb, press my trans brake button on my shifter, trans brake turns on. Now the other guy's stages, I need to get to the second bulb. Bump, 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 let go, bang, I'm flying. That's as easy. Okay guys, one more thing that you could test here if you want to be thorough is your 2-step wire. We can test here that the 2-step should always be on, so we check for voltage. Sure enough, we have 12 volts. And we bump the trans brake. Sorry, I was touching the 2 cables together in the back with my finger. When we bump the trans brake, the voltage doesn't flicker. You don't want it releasing the 2-step when you're on the trans brake. That's why we use that separate relay, that separate circuit for that. Okay guys, so we're in the car now. I got my box right down under here. You can put it anywhere in your dash, doesn't matter. I do have a trans brake arm switch still, like you should have, so you don't engage a trans brake on accident. But basically how I would do this is that if I was in gear, turn my trans brake on. It's on right now. Working. Now I have my bump hooked into this button right here, so I can just sit here and bump while I'm on the brake. So if I can hold this here. Well guys, so you've seen the bump box in action. What do you think? Think it's worth $30? I think it is. So now that you've seen it in action, do you want to spend $300 on a bump box? I don't think so. Anyways, all the links to the parts that we use in this video are down below. Please show them your support, pick them up. I said all this stuff is cheap, under $30, probably even under $20 in some cases, and half you guys have relays anyways laying around. So what are you waiting for? Get out and build your own. Thanks.